Hey, I wanted to address this. Steph sent me this. Seth Moulton. Do you know who Seth Moulton is? He's a father, first and foremost. Secondly, he's a husband. Oh. I don't know.
Jimmy, do you have that on your Twitter page?
I don't know why that stuff drives me nuts. Because isn't that what they call virtue signaling? Mac, have you ever heard that term, virtue signaling?
Yeah.
Is that what that is? When people like in their Twitter bar, the first thing, I'm a father, I'm a husband. All right. I don't know. That just, to me, it just smacks of virtue signaling.
Yes.
It's like, look, I'm a good guy. All right. I don't know. Maybe I'm, there's a good chance that this is about me.
I'm finding every time I see a white male politician roll up his sleeves, I think that's virtue signaling too. Right?
Well, in his picture, he has his sleeves.
I know.
In his picture. Oh, look, he's hardworking. But he's got one too many buttons undone here. Now it looks like he's trying to be too sexy for his shirt. Right? That's the Scott Conan on a cooking show, right?
Yeah, but I can
he
handle
has way
that. That's
too many
Scott
buttons.
He's not ready for
cooking.
office.
You're cooking, Scott. Why are you showing me? I don't want to see. Anyway, Scott Conan, very sexy. So Seth Moulton is running for president. Seth Moulton has a new idea, and it's about service. Like, we have a lot of problems in this country. You know, the biggest problems is that we don't spend our money on things we're supposed to spend it on. We spend money on, prison construction, oil subsidies, Wall Street bailouts, and war. And we should be spending the money on, education, jobs, homes, infrastructure, stuff like that. So Seth has this new idea, like if you want to get some of that, if you want to be able to go to college and stuff, that you have to first serve, because he's a Iraq War veteran. So he went over there, and it didn't seem to really inform him as much. Some people go to serve and it really informs them, like Tulsi Gabbard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he got the lessons that we would want him to get. Let's watch. Here we go. Here's his big idea for the country. Ready? Here we go.
I'm calling today for the biggest call to national service since World War II, a way to take us forward and meet the challenges of this new economy and a changing world. America has always risen to the challenges that face our country with a call to service. That's how we surmounted the Great Depression. It's how we won World War II, and it's how we put a man on the moon.
Okay, I don't think we did any of those. Maybe World War II we won because people joined to go fight Nazis and fascism.
Surmounted the Great Depression. It's how we...
How did we surmount the Great Depression? By service? No, we surmounted the Great Depression because we had great leadership and we had government offer people jobs. There was no jobs. We'll give you a job. And what's the job? The job's going to go be rebuilding America. That was a form of service, but that was also a job. That's not
income.
That's income. That was the government. That was us servicing ourselves. We're self-servicing. That was the government going, well, the economy's hurting right now. The government's going to invent jobs. That's what happened.
And I believe that jobs program was also supported by the military-industrial complex because they said that greater roads would help protect our country as well.
Part of that. Well, that came from, I believe that was Eisenhower who did the interstate highway system, and he sold it as a defense project. That's how he got that done, which is, of course, an infrastructure. Well, let's watch the rest of this guy's speech.
Won World War II, and it's how we put a man on the moon.
We didn't put a man on the moon by people volunteering. We put a man on the moon because John F. Kennedy had a vision, and he directed the government to hire smarty pants people to come up with a way to fly a man to the moon. It wasn't like a bunch of people like, I'm going to go volunteer to be an astronaut for no pay. That's not how this works. I'm going to go volunteer to be a rocket scientist for that. I'm pretty sure NASA paid those people. I'm pretty sure that was. So this idea, I'm sorry I stopped it. I'm sorry.
Calling everyone to get behind a common mission and having everyone do their part. And so I'm asking all 33 million young Americans to consider serving their country as well. Not to make it a requirement, but an expectation that Americans will take a part in our future, take a part in serving our country. And if America...
again, what is this idea that there's only certain ways to serve your country? And I know he means military first and foremost. There's plenty of ways to serve a librarian is serving her country. A guy who fixes a pothole is serving his country.
Teachers are serving the country.
Teachers all over are serving the country. What is this idea that there's just certain way social workers are serving the country? This idea that there's only certain. Anyway, I know I did. I stopped it again.
If you invest in America, then America will invest in you. And so coupled with this call to service is a new national education guarantee modeled on the GI Bill to say that if you serve your country, you will get to go to college or to vocational. We will make that investment in you. That's the kind of forward-looking policy that I think we need to meet the challenges of a changing world, to address climate change, to bring broadband to rural communities, and to say to America, we need a common mission. We need to be united going forward as a country.
Yeah. Again, this idea that you need to join some kind of volunteer force to do this. That's what it sounds. Well, here's what.
Well, the reason it sounds like that, Jimmy, too, is because he said similar to the GI Bill.
Yes. GI Bill was you went and you fought, or you were in the military, then they would pay for your college.
Right.
The GI Bill. So So here's what he tweeted afterwards. He says, "Ask all young Americans to serve. Launch a large-scale national recruiting effort to reach all 33.4 million Americans aged 17 to 24, and ask them to serve their country." Provide an education benefit modeled on the GI Bill concept, 60% of in-state tuition or a job training benefit up to $14,000 for a one-year commitment. 80%. So he's talking about real service. He's talking about joining like the military, like a commitment. 80% or a job training benefit of up to $19,000 for a 2-year commitment. 100% or $24,000 in training for a 3-year commitment. So where do you make this commitment? So he's talking about military commitment. I mean, and then he says the Federal Green Corps. Is that like the Army Corps of Engineers will have the Army Federal Green Corps? Is that what he means? That sounds like that. Again, this is what it sounds like. Build a new service organization with the mission of combating climate change and protecting our environment. A new service organization with the mission of service. So does that mean volunteer?
I don't know.
That's what I hear when I hear him say service. I hear volunteer.
Yeah, and
but even if you join the military, you get paid when you're in the military. That's a paid position. It's just not paid well.
I would believe that he's probably basing these numbers on similar ways that they get people to sign up for the military.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Make national service a cabinet position. Elevate the administrator of the newly restructured National and Community Service Administration to a cabinet-level position, giving this new secretary a seat at the table for tackling the country's biggest challenges. Expand the Corporation for National and Community Service. Rename it the National and Community Service Administration and expand its mission and scope. Okay, so these seem less like you have to join the military. I haven't, by the way, so in one sense, not a bad, he is raising a word. I didn't know this even existed. Did you know that there was a Corporation for National and Community Service? I didn't know that. Much like the Civilian Conservation, the CCC, that they were called the CCC boys, much like the Civilian Conservation Corps built and maintained our national parks in the 1930s, the Federal Green Corps will take on, but those guys were paid. The CCC, that was the whole thing. You needed a job, we'll give you a job, and then a lot of those people took their pay and they sent it home. So
you know what I think?
So this sounds like he has like an infrastructure idea to pay, but why would you have? So I don't understand these. So you have to be a volunteer, or you just get paid really shittily, or what? Why can't we just have a government project that maintains our national parks.
Exactly.
How about we just have a project that hires people for a federal Green Corps, which takes on projects to make communities more resilient from rising ocean? Why do we, again, this just sounds like just 100% a bullshit idea.
Well, Ophelia says, sounds like slave labor.
So retrofitting public buildings so why do we have to rely on volunteers to do unbelievably important work? This sounds like stuff that's super important. Why wouldn't we have a jobs program that, hey, we'll have a jobs program and then it's the new federal Green Corps and everybody gets paid well and everybody goes and they protect our communities working on projects to make us more resilient from rising oceans and ensure clean water and air and retrofit public buildings and make them energy efficient. And it's a great job, like a policeman or a fireman. Why? I don't understand. He says, we're going to increase our investment in AmeriCorps, FEMA Corps, and AmeriCorps Visa. So again, in one sense, this is good because I hadn't heard about it. Had you ever heard of any of these things?
Nope.
I've never. Mac, have you ever heard of any of these? Have you heard of AmeriCorps?
Yeah,
you
heard
have.
of AmeriCorps.
What is it?
So basically, if you're under the age of 25, you sign up for AmeriCorps, and you basically go with them for a year. And it's like you do a bunch of different things so you can help out with maintaining national parks.
Oh, but is it paid or is it?
It's paid. You get like $10,000.
Oh, so it's not really paid.
Yeah.
You get like a stipend, but not a real pay.
They give you board and food, and then they give you, that little pay at the end.
Okay, so he is talking about basically BS. So why not just make Again, we have it's not like we're poor and we can't pay people a decent wage to go do these things. We need good paying jobs. Why only people under 24 years old? There's lots of people over 24 years old who would love to do these jobs. So this is just stupid. There is no limit to what millions of young Americans working together can achieve. That's why the goal of this plan is to unite Americans around solving these problems and to reward them for doing so. Yeah, how about we reward them with a living wage?
Because you want to know where all that money goes back into the economy. They're
That's
not going to
right.
sit on a 50 grand, 60 grand a year job. They're going to be able to live well,
Yes.
contribute to the well-being of their family. So why are we exploiting 17 to 24-year-olds? Oh, I know. That's the youngest age that, their brains aren't fully developed, right? We know that through science that their brains aren't fully developed, until 25, 26, when they start questioning authority and challenging people in government. Jimmy?
Here's what Ben Norton says. Democratic presidential candidate Seth Moulton's proposal is to turn young Americans into cannon fodder for an empire that is waging war on the peoples of Venezuela, Iran, Yemen, Palestine, and beyond. Well, how about you skipped Afghanistan, Syria, Somalia,
Libya.
the Sudan, Libya. So that's in the beyond. That's and beyond. We're only limited to 143 characters or something like that. So I get it. I get why you said and beyond. Just so they can afford basic social services that are free in much of the world. This guy says, I served for 10 years. Your statement is a joke.
Jay Possibly says, AmeriCorps exploited them. I'm an alum, fucking horrible to live on the stipend. Burned me out as a young idealist being thrown in with slow-mo career bureaucrats.
Here's what Collie Girl Burner says. Actually, from the number of veterans living on the streets in tents and the thousands who commit suicide, it doesn't appear that the United States of America is keeping that bargain with their veterans. So this idea, serve and we'll take care of you. Hey, these veterans are homeless all around this country, Seth. Maybe you show how you can take care of them first, and then we'll believe your bullshit about this later. What a dumb idea this is. We need more poor people working for slave wages. That doesn't help the economy. You know what helps the economy? When people go to work and you put money in their pocket, and then they spend it. That's how we get out of the Great Depression, Seth, not by people volunteering, but by FDR putting money in people's pockets. It was called demand-side economy as opposed to supply-side economy, which is what Ronald Reagan did and what we're still living in today. It's called supply-side economics, also called Trickle-down economics. Supply side. Well, we give all the money to the rich people, and they spend so much of it. It raises all our... Doesn't work. That's not how it works. And what Seth is saying is, let's get some more people for free. Exploit some more people, and we'll build some great projects that'll help our country. Why can't we afford to build projects that'll help our country? The fact is we can. Seth Moulton is a nincompoop. From a vet of our most recent conflict, do not do it, says Jeffrey Kramer. Do not do it. Bad as the lies were that got me to where I fought, these are worse. Wow, he's coming right at Seth Moulton. You won't be taken care of. Needlessly expending your life for a war that doesn't need fighting to kill people that don't need killing isn't investment. Pretty good stuff, buddy. And then Ben Zalavansky, former writer for the Jimmy Dore Show, summed it up well. He said, hey, I love exploiting poor people as much as the next guy. But what if we tried taxing the rich, making college free, and paying jobless adults a living wage to do all that stuff? Here's Ben Zalavansky's idea. He's not running for president, but it seems like Ben has a much greater grasp on how to deal with the problems facing America. Here's his solution. Hey, let's try taxing the rich, making college free, and paying jobless adults a living wage to do all that stuff. Everybody's on board for taxing the rich, by the way, and that's what scares us. That's why they have to really press the gas pedal on AOC as a maniac, or that she's an idiot or something, even though she has an economics degree. And she just says stuff you don't like. Like, hey, let's put a 70% tax on people that make over $10 million. Everybody's on board for that. Trump voters are on board for that. And then, she's crazy. You know who says that? That's the upper 10% of people say that. And those are the ones who own and populate the media. Those people. Jessica Sullivan said, and I'm just spitballing here. I love this kind of style of joke. I love this. And I'm just spitballing here. You could just provide a better life for Americans without requiring them to directly participate in flattening the Middle East. That's very, very similar to the joke with Elizabeth Warren wants to make the military green. Or we could just close all those bases and you don't have to worry about all our CO2 emissions. Or we could do that. So there's Seth Moulton running for president. Is there anybody not running for president who has a bad idea? Everybody's like, hey, you got a bad idea? Why don't you run for president? Congressman and candidate running for president of the United States. Seth Moulton, I roll up my sleeves and ask you to come work for slave wages in the richest country in the world where 80% of the workers are living paycheck to paycheck. 30 million Americans don't have health care. Veterans are littering our homeless streets. His big idea is more free shit from you. Do you see how broken our politics is? I'm sure the Huffington... And if he had a good idea, the Huffington Post would hire some hack to write a smear piece about how he's a conspiracy theorist. That's what they do. That's what they do to Tulsi. Even though Tulsi's been proven right about Assad. She's been proven right about those gas attacks. I was proven right about those gas attacks. The people who were wrong, still pushing that the gas attacks were committed by Assad. The people who were proven wrong. People who had to cover up information about it, lie about it, proven wrong, still out there pushing, just like the Russiagators. They didn't stop. Hey, your King Mueller, the Saint Mueller, did a 22-month investigation, said there's no collusion. That's not what it means. Keep going. It's amazing to watch. That's why we have a show, because the media is owned by six companies, and they're horrible. And they're the companies that they're supposed to be investigating. And then if you actually stumble on some truth, they call you a conspiracy theorist. Oh, you mean conspiracies like what Saddam has WMDs? Or how about the Iraqi soldiers are taking babies out of incubators? Those kind of conspiracies? I have lots of Those are some of my favorites. Or how about we have to invade Libya to save everybody? How about that? That's another great conspiracy. It's going to get way worse. It's like he has a team of people working with him. Think about that. He has a team of people, and this is what they came up with. So I'm sure they focus grouped it. It's a team of people. What were the other ideas that they didn't go with? This is the one they came up with because that wasn't their only idea. They had hey, we got to have a big idea. Our big idea: ask everybody who's really hurting millennials with no future to work for a couple years for no money. All right, and that'll fix America. What the fuck will that do? Is that gonna make people have better wages? No. Like that doesn't address any of the problems in our country. The problems in our country is that we have corporate capture of our government. And so now our government actively works against us. Not only do they not legislate in our favor, they legislate against our interests on purpose. Because the oligarchs run this country and they all get together and have meetings. What? What? They all get together and have meetings? Jimmy, what would he talk about? Yeah, that's what Congress is. Every time there's a session of Congress, that's the oligarchs' puppets having a meeting to map out the strategy to make them richer and fuck you over. Who do you think they work for? Who do you think this clown works for? Hey, we just added St. Louis and Honolulu to our live tour schedule. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all the tickets for all our live shows. We might be coming to your town. Go check right now at jimmydorecomedy.com. And if you like the show and want to support it, become a premium member. You can become a patron or through PayPal or go right to jimmydorecomedy.com and become a premium member. That's the best way. We'll see you at a live show.